right, welcome back, everybody. 17 minutes past 8. We're wrapping up our conversation with John Edward, who's been so kind to stay with us for so long here on the program on Morning Live, doing what he does best, and that's talk to us and do live readings and make us understand about death and what it's all about, because it's...
Yeah, I feel like I relay my experiences, both on a personal level. You know, I've lost a lot of people. I lost my mom when I was 19. It's kind of weird. I'm turning the age that she was when she passed. So, like, there's a whole revisiting for me of loss on a personal level, because I used to always look at that passing as being like I was the son who lost the parent, and now I feel like I'm revisiting her passing, being the age that she was, looking at my kids as how she must have been looking at me. So it gives me a deeper perspective about that experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's really important to talk about family and loss and symbology and how it gets passed down, whether it be while we're here or after we're gone.
Yeah. While we were in a break, you were starting to hear something, or feel something, or hear something.
Right.
Do you want to? No, we've told the studio if they hear anything that resembles something in their life come through. Is it still coming through?
It wasn't as much as what I was getting before. I literally just started, but it was kind of a violent passing where somebody was. They had an impact. An impact to me would be where somebody was shot. I didn't feel like they saw it, so I felt like it happened in a way that they wouldn't have seen it. So like from behind, or through a car, or from behind in some way. I feel like there's an R name that's attached to it, so it's either who they are or who they're with, but there's an R in the family. I feel like either the 12th month December or the 12th of a month would be connected. And I feel like there were two people there, or two people involved, or two people connected. And something about what would be on the scene fabric-wise that was kept. In other words, like if somebody had like a bandana, or if somebody had something that was like rolled up, that would be looked at something symbolic like a scarf. But I feel like there's something about that I'm supposed to talk about, the actual piece of fabric that was kept, or whatever.
Yeah. Anyone in the studio? Does it ring true to anyone in the studio? Can anyone relate to that in the studio? Because remember, we've got a lot of people in the studio that are here, and so I mean, anybody that is sort of...
Well, that was the hard part about when I did Crossing Over, is that, you know, people would see just me on the show, and what happened is that on days that we were doing the private readings for the show, those would be the days I'd wind up reading the actual crew. So finally one day they said to me, why is it on private reading days only you seem to read the crew more than you don't read the crew when the audience is there? So I said, well, on private reading days, the crew actually becomes the audience. So it's kind of like it's the audience.
That's amazing. Funeka, something coming through? We've got... Oh, you don't... Come. I've got a microphone here. So we may have something here. This is our floor manager, Funeka.
Hi.
Yes, I'm saying when you say I kept something like a bandana, I kept something like a bandana from my sister.
And
she passed on.
Was there somebody in the family that was shot?
She was not shot, she got sick. But she gave me, before she passed on, she gave me something like a bandana.
So this is where, as a medium, I have to manage the possible disappointment that it might not be for you.
Yes.
But I have to tell you that what got my attention was that somebody passed because of an impact that came from behind, which would mean that they didn't see it.
Yeah.
So an illness would not fit that. So, but if she was...
It's like an accident.
If it was from behind.
Yes, my brother passed on. It was an accident. The truck came from behind.
So he wouldn't have seen the impact from behind. Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would make sense, because then you have two of them that would be together.
Yes.
So you have a sibling. Yeah, you have two siblings, right?
Yes.
A brother and a sister.
Yes.
And then you have what was the connection to December or the 12th of a month? The good news is you have this on tape, so you'll be able to actually see it.
Okay.
So December or the 12th of a month has a meaning, either birthday or anniversary, and there's an R-sounding name in the family. So, but the bandana was something that I felt like was important, because I felt like I was like stretching it out.
I still have it now.
So that would be her way of letting you know that she's with your brother as well.
Okay.
But don't forget the stuff that didn't make sense. Remember the 12th, which either means December has a meaning, or the 12th of a month,
Yes.
and the R, which is either who they are or who they're with.
Okay.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting. All right, there you go. So I mean, these are little clues, and let me tell you, I mean, John just walked into studio, he doesn't know anybody here, and when you're talking about a live broadcast, when you're talking about 20, 30 people that are behind the scenes here, so that's kind of, it's just the clues.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
these
what it feels
clues
like.
come through.
They're little insights, and I kind of, like I said, like a lot of people will sometimes want something to be for them, and I have to say, no, it's not that.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll see it at the event on, you know, when I do it here. There'll be people that I read that won't say anything, and 20 other people have their hands up,
And
going,
they're clutching at it.
Yeah, and they're like, it's
yeah,
for me, and I'm like,
my
it's
dog's
not for
name
you.
is-
I'm like, no, it's over here. I'm getting it over here.
Yeah, yeah. Just, we're wrapping up, but there was one thing quite interesting that you said. You pick up on people's energies as
Sure.
well. When you were interviewed by Oprah, you were saying it was one of the strongest
she
energies
was very
you ever
powerful.
picked up.
I wasn't sure she was real, honestly. Like, I wasn't sure if that was like, if Oprah was like, you know, Oprah and that was what she put out there, or if she was authentic.
Yeah.
And I wasn't excited to do her show, so I was kind of like, whatever. And when I got there and her energy hits you, it's just like, oh, she is authentic. She is real. She is like amazing. It was a really cool experience.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, kind of like prejudging a situation when you don't have the energy. It's imagining that the water is really, really cold, and then you get into it and it's really, really warm.
Yeah.
So
So, I mean, just generally, people that you meet all the time, I mean, that you can't close off, surely. You feel their energies.
I do, but I don't read them. So it might be what makes me feel like I'm going to do this to a person or lean into them. But there's
Yeah.
that. It's more of a energy, kind of a positive or negative thing. Do I want to be in this person's space or not?
I've got an interesting story that when you were here for the very first time, and that was about 8 years ago, because it was about the time that my son was born. We came as guests to see your show,
Okay.
and you were carrying on about, and I have to relay the story because this is how freaky it is. I mean, at the time, we weren't allowed cell phones in your show. And what I had done is I had stuck my cell phone in because my child was about 3 months old. So
Gotcha.
someone was babysitting. It was the first time I'd left him. So I had it on, but before I left the house, I'd updated an app. This was when cell phones and iPhones were a big thing. I updated an app on my phone. And on the stage, you were carrying on about somebody who had an instrument in their pocket, somebody who's carrying some musical instrument, like a piano or something, which is physically impossible.
Right.
And the more I sat there, the more I realized, oh my goodness, I have my cell phone in my pocket, and I updated a piano app on my cell phone. And that's how you were coming to me, but it wasn't
Right.
for me, it was for my husband.
Gotcha.
You had no clue it was me, even though I'd interviewed it that week. Do you almost sort of go into a trance when you're up there?
Oh, 100%. Completely focused. The funniest part is when people really pay attention to what I'm saying. If they listen, like somebody will say like, they'll give me information, like they'll validate something, and then I'll go back and say something. I don't listen to. I'm so into the moment that I don't listen to the living.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I don't even realize like that I'm not paying attention to them.
I see that. John and I have been talking, and suddenly I see him going off into the distance. I'm
They
like,
used to call it.
John, you're not listening to me, are you? You're
I'm
focusing
crossing
on
over
something over there.
the control room used to say, "Oh, he's going to the movies. He's going to the movies. He's going to the movies. We're losing him."
I love it. I absolutely love it. But John, I have to tell you, it's been such an honor, such a privilege, and I don't want to hog you too long because I know you have an interview that you've got to get to by 8:30. But we thank you so much for
thank
coming.
you. Thank you for being so generous with your time. I
It's
appreciate
been so
it.
interesting, and again, just that message to leave viewers with, that there are so many questions of people asking, you know, my aunt passed away, my parents passed away. Again, that last message you'd like to leave with viewers.
Appreciate the people while they're here. Communicate and talk to them about how you feel and what they mean to you while they're here, because sometimes we don't get a second chance at that first opportunity.
Yeah.
And it's better to leave people better than you find them.
Beautiful. John Edward, what a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
I love you. Thank you so much for coming in. You've got to visit us every time you come to South Africa.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, that's John Edward here. We'll be in touch with you. We've got so many responses to our competition that we're running 2 tickets to give away, 2 double tickets. So you can go with a loved one or friend or whatever to the show at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and we'll get in touch with you. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you after this with the news headlines.